All right, let's talk about something that's running your entire network, but you probably never see it, the Active Directory Schema. And trust me on this, it is way more important than you might think. So let's jump right in.
Okay, so have you ever stopped to think about this? How does your network actually know the difference between a user and, say, a printer? I mean, when you add a new person, it asks for a password. When you add a printer, it looks for an IP address. How does it know which is which?
Well, the answer to that question, it all comes down to this hidden master blueprint. Think of it like the ultimate rulebook that defines every single thing that can possibly exist on your network.
And this master blueprint, it has a name, of course. We call it the Active Directory Schema. This thing is literally the architectural plan for your entire directory forest. You know, that top-level container for your whole AD setup? Yeah, the schema dictates the rules for everything inside it.
So if you look up the official Microsoft definition, it's a little dry. It says it contains formal definitions of every object class and every attribute that can exist in an Active Directory forest. Okay, but let's stick with our blueprint analogy because it's way easier to grasp. The schema basically holds two key things: the designs for every type of thing and a master list of all the possible features those things can have.
All right, so let's dig into those two components, right? We've got the objects themselves, which in ADD speak are called classes, and then we have their features, which are called attributes.
An object class, that's your template. It's the actual blueprint. So, if you're building a house, you've got a blueprint for the bedroom, one for the kitchen, right? It's the same idea in Active Directory. You have an object class for a user account, another for a computer, another for a group. It basically defines what something is.
Okay, so what about an attribute? Well, that's just a specific piece of information about one of those objects. If the user account is the blueprint, the attributes are all the little details written on it, like first name, last name, password, email address. These are the features that actually describe the object.
And here, this table really lays it all out perfectly. Just look, on the left, you've got our blueprint idea. A blueprint type, like for a bedroom, is just like an object class in Active Directory, like a user account. Simple, right? And then a feature on that blueprint, maybe Windows size, is the same as an attribute in AD, like the password policy. This simple structure, this is what organizes your entire network.
Okay, so where does all this stuff live? Where are all these blueprints and features actually stored? Well, Active Directory keeps them all tucked away and neatly organized in a kind of central library, and we can actually peek inside.
So this library is broken down into two main sections, or containers. First, you've got the classes container. This holds all the class schema objects. These are the actual blueprints we've been talking about for users, computers, groups, you name it. Then you have the attributes container. This holds all the attribute schema objects, and this is just a master list of every single possible feature you can give to an object, things like name, location, or manager.
Okay. Now we need to talk about something really, really important, a word of warning. Because this blueprint is so fundamental to everything, making changes to it, well, it's a very high-stakes game. This is absolutely not something you do on a whim.
And look, don't just take my word for it. This is a direct quote from Microsoft. Errors and schema changes can result in data loss and corruption. Just let that sink in for a second. Data loss, corruption. A mistake here isn't just a small oopsie, it can be absolutely catastrophic for a whole company.
Let's go back to our building analogy one more time because it's perfect for this. Changing the schema is not like painting a room or moving furniture. No, it's like taking a sledgehammer to a wall in a finished building. And you better be 100% sure that wall isn't a load-bearing wall holding up the rest of the structure.
So here's the bottom line. Look, sometimes you have to extend the schema. Certain applications require it, but you have to do it with extreme care. The advice basically boils down to 3 golden rules. First, you need to understand the full effect of what you're about to do. Second, you always deploy and test it in a lab environment first, never in production. And third, and this is a big one, you have to remember, most schema changes are permanent. They're irreversible. There's no undo button.
At the end of the day, the Active Directory Schema is more than just a blueprint. It's really the constitution for your entire network. It defines the rules, the structure, the very reality for every single object within it. So that leaves us with one final big question. Do you know what yours says?